Create with Fran Sidney. Create the life you want. Hello everyone, welcome to episode 43 of Create for another very focused episode when we are going to talk about how to get out of your own way of thinking so you can analyze different solutions. And guess what? I found out that a lot of us just think that, our opinion is the best and we are the only people who know the truth. Of course, that's absolutely normal. That's what human beings do. So let's dive in and see what comes out of this discussion. Okay, we shall start by reading an article that came out today, the 23rd of April, on wired.uk, so you can research it if you want, and it's about health. And the title says, "Doctors were sure they had COVID-19, the reality was worse." And the underside says, "When the pandemic hit, doctors were primed to spot COVID-19 wherever they looked. Sometimes that meant they missed the other potentially fatal diseases." Now, my purpose here is not really to talk about health or disease, but to talk about how the mind works. So, for example, we talk about a woman in Canada who in April was taken to hospital in Ontario, and she had all the classic symptoms of COVID-19. Despite 2 negative COVID tests, she was treated for COVID all the time, but she wasn't, of course, getting any better. After several days, finally somebody decided to do a bronchoscopy, which showed that she actually had a fungal infection, which is typical of people who are infected with HIV. So the doctor said our whole mindset switched. So of course, now they started to look for signs of HIV infection and they realized she had all of them. And it was easy. They could have missed the whole thing completely. And looking back, this is the most classic and obvious case of AIDS that they've ever seen in their life. And the year before, they would have just picked it up, no problem. So what was the difference? The difference is that because they had been listening all the time about this novel disease and the scientific literature was being pumped out every day about COVID-19, that was on the forefront of their mind all the time, and therefore, just like for this woman, many other people have been misdiagnosed. And this is not just about COVID-19. In the US alone, 12 million people are on the receiving end of a diagnostic error every year. Why does this happen? Because sometimes we expect something and that's what you're looking for. We are not looking at any other thing because our mind is blocking us. In the end of the article, the doctor admits that there is this bias, and he also says that these biases and heuristics are built-in features of a brain. That's how we work. And the way to start mitigating these biases is knowing that they exist. And of course, they can affect anyone, a professional person or a normal person that doesn't even have a job. We just form ideas and concepts in our mind all the time, and we based all our decisions of how we perceive the world around us, which is obvious, isn't it? But sometimes this can be a little bit of an issue because we cannot think outside of a box. Let me give you another example. So we know that our brain has biased because they're based on a very adaptive process that allows us to use the knowledge and the experience that we have to inform the decisions that we're going to make and the actions that we're going to take. So if we have a negative experience, for example, with dogs, then we might think that all the dogs might give us a bad experience. And so we might have this instinct of steering very clear of dogs in the future. Yeah, and so we need these biases to be protected from danger, so to survive. But in the modern world where we are now, we are not always benefited by having all these biases because they can stop us actually moving forward. And this is so true when we have, for example, an office, a hiring manager that is trying to hire the perfect person. And guess what? He's not always able to make the correct decision unless he is aware of his own bias. Let's pick up, for example, a manager arrives on a Monday, he's a hiring manager and has a pile of curriculum vitae, and he has to go through all of them, and you think, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to spend hours doing all this. Then he picks up the one from the top of the pile and he reads that the person who is applying for the job maybe has been to the same university, or he comes from the same town, or belongs to the same golf club, whatever. If he's got something that is similar to him, familiar, and that he really likes. And guess what happens? It is very possible that this hiring manager will start thinking very positively about this possible candidate, despite the fact that the person might not be the one that is needed for the particular job. He might just overlook that, thinking, oh wow, if he's gone to this university, or if he's got this other experience, or this other thing that I really like personally, he might be very good. Now, I'm not criticizing managers, but this is just part of a thinking process. We are biased because we have this experience. So it's important to realize bias isn't a sin or anything wrong, but it's just very useful to look at it and say, oh, actually, yeah, I prefer people like this, people like that. And this is very common at work. We tend to view people who look like us, who think like us, a little bit more favorably than people who are different from any reason. And also, when we have so much work, we want to minimize the effort to think too much, the cognitive effort. And so sometimes we rush to conclusion. We make these conclusions really quickly, and they're not always a perfect, balanced conclusion. And of course, we think, because we are human beings, right, that our perspective, it's the one that really shows how the world is. We know the truth, and the people around us, they don't really know it, but they, in their own brain, think that they know the truth. So how do we solve this issue? There is something there. There is a bias, because we are formed by our own experiences. We have beliefs that come from when we were really young, then we make them stronger as we grow up and we have further experiences. It is also interesting to note that we tend to assign a greater value to the things that we think are closer to us rather than those that are further away from us. So that can be applied not only at work but also in the home. Something that is about to happen is always more important than something that will be happening in the future. So all these aspects are very important, and also something regarding the past that can really change our decision-making process, because many people have a tendency to over-account for negative outcomes instead of positive ones. So in the hiring scenario, when you base all your ideas, your decision on being similar, or having the experience with a certain type of person, maybe you don't get along with people who are too energetic or too calm, then this can create a problem, and then you're not able to be working with a team that is really good for you, because you have used that past tendency and your bias. So it's very good at that moment to stop for a minute and get somebody else to illuminate the situation, and just perhaps minimize for 1 minute your own thinking and look at that from another point of view, just to see if you can shed any light. And that is so helpful. Now, we have to realize that having a bias is not something wrong. It is something absolutely normal that our brain has to do. Why? Because our brain, as I think I mentioned before, has to process about 11 million bits of information every second. Just keep it in mind that this is a computer term, right? A bit is a measure of information. But our brain can only process 16 to 40 bits. What do we do with 11 million bits? That's a lot of information. That's an overload. So, because our brain is dealing with all this information around us, the color, the scent, the movement, the 3D aspects, the texture of everything, it's impossible to take all in. So, because we are dealing with hundreds or thousands of bits of information, we unconsciously just filter out what is not very important in that moment, and we don't even remember it. So we remember what is important for us in that precise moment, and that's the memory we're going to have about that event. So we have an event, we have a memory that has our point of view, not the one of the other people, and that makes a huge difference. It is very, very important to remember that we have to categorize and lump everything in boxes so we can make sense of a world that is around us. And therefore we tend to categorize animals, plants, people around us, situations, movies. And this is very helpful to navigate very quickly through life and to speed up the process of living and making decisions, crossing the road, etc. For example, if you see that a very fast type motorbike is coming along, because in your experience, people who have a very large motorbike tend to go a little bit faster maybe than a tiny little bicycle, you will not cross the road because you expect them to go faster. And you expect that, so you slow down. And that is very good because it's going to save your life. You will not just go and cross the road. While if you pick up a 5-year-old child, he's going to look at the motorbike and not even think for 1 minute that the motorbike is going to come around the road really fast and it might be a danger to him. He doesn't have the bias. So the bias is so important for us, but it can be very dangerous. So later on at work, we might judge people because they're not like us. It could be a different gender, or it could be much older than us, much younger than us, come from another country, from another area of a city that we do not think is a very good one. They might have a different type of driving style or a life experience that for us is not a very good one to have, and therefore we carry this judgment with ourselves. And that is sometimes not very useful. So it's very, very important that we recognize these implicit biases that we have. And there are also online tests that we can do to see if we have stereotypes in our mind, and it's quite fun because it's good to work with this bias and trying to expand our view of the world. So what happens when we have a problem in our life, maybe a relationship problem, or maybe we are trying to lose weight, or maybe we are very anxious and we are trying to find a solution? What we're doing, we are navigating in the little bowl of water and we can't see beyond that. All we see is our own personal experience and we have only our own point of view. So it is a little bit restricted. What we see as a solution is restricted unless we allow ourselves to brainstorm everything possible that is different from our usual solution, unless we allow ourselves to dream a little bit and literally throw everything into the universe and just look up and open our mind to everything that is not our typical way of solving the problem. I don't know if it was Einstein or somebody else, maybe a person that wasn't even famous, but somebody said you cannot solve a problem with the same mindset that you had when you have created the problem. And I thought it was a really clever way of looking at how we solve the problems. So let's give you an example. Let's say that you have a person that is working with you or for you in your office or firm, or maybe a person in your family, so in a relationship, and this person has the power to irritate you all the time. And you think, well, I'm very irritated because this person is doing A, B, C, D, and he's taking these actions that are making me very irritated. And that's fine. But there is a point where you have enough of this person and you are becoming very angry, very anxious maybe about going to the office. Maybe this person is your boss, maybe it's your wife or your husband. They're making you feel really bad. And sometimes you can just solve a problem, you can have maybe a chat to this person, you can have a heart-to-heart discussion. Other times you don't. And some people become so anxious, so worried about how they're going to feel when they go to school. Maybe they have a teacher they don't like, they want to be included, they're not included because they are set apart. Or maybe they go to the office, everyone is talking, and they are not invited into the conversation. They cannot talk during the meetings. Their opinion is not appreciated. And there is somebody there, maybe a middle manager, that is always kind of pushing their opinion and not letting them talk at all. Whatever this thing is, if we keep bringing the same mindset, we're going to have always the same solution that obviously has not worked. So we're going to feel worse and worse and worse. And this is when it is so useful to talk to someone else, maybe our partner, maybe a counselor or coach or a therapist, maybe our HR director, a person who deals with coaching in your company, whoever it is, who can offer a different point of view. Why? Because they're not emotionally involved in that situation from your own point of view. They can offer an relatively unbiased opinion that can open up a window to a different type of solution. In reality, a lot of us are triggered because of something that happened in the past. So this new person, maybe, is triggering us because it's reminding us subconsciously of how our dad used to treat us when we were young and we didn't like it. Or maybe, I don't know, let's say that our husband left for a very, very beautiful model 20 years ago, and we still have a little bit of anger about that, right? And we were maybe 20 years older, and so they made us feel very much angry. Let's assume that a new person comes into the office and you absolutely hate this woman. You hate her. She's a very, very good professional. She does her job amazingly well, but you just cannot stand her. There is something about her that is really making you itch. You just cannot be in her presence. Then you realize, by talking to a friend who sees the other side from outside, that you actually don't hate this woman. You're doing a little bit of projection, a little bit of transference. You are seeing in that woman the same threat that you saw years and years before when your own husband went with a woman that was 20 years younger. And this woman is, if you think about it, oh yeah, she's very young, she's very good looking, and deep inside you're thinking, the boss is now going to give all the jobs to her, she's going to be smarter, she's going to be better than me. So you start being very much close towards her and not open to her comments. And when she gives suggestion, you are not going to listen because you're like, there we go, she's just going to take it away. Just like it happened 20 years ago. And I'm now here quoting, without giving names, real cases of people that have this big problem in the office, and it had nothing to do with the person that had come to work there and all to do with their past experience and their bias. And of course, from a logical point of mind, we will say, oh, no, I would never think that a woman cannot be good at work if she's very good looking and sexy. Of course, you can be just as good. In words, we say that we are not biased. But then, if in our experience, a young and beautiful woman has taken away something precious from us, or has taken away a good job from us because she passed the interview and then she just passed over everyone else, we will have this bias towards young women and we will act differently, and the people around us will perceive that. But we are in the problem, we are inside the mode of thinking and the modus vivendi, so we do not perceive that. So I suggest, if you have noticed recently, or maybe not recently, that you're always having the same type of issue with the same type of people, and maybe a lot of competition, you have to win, you absolutely have to win, otherwise you feel very irritated and angry, or maybe you have to work and you never stop. Then you need to stop for a minute and ask yourself, what is that is stopping me from becoming friendly with this person in the office? What is it that is making me really catty towards this person that is now in my life for some reason. It could be the new husband of somebody, or it could be a new friend, a new person working with you in your school. It doesn't matter. What matters is that for your own mental wellness, it is so good to refresh your internal bias, which, as I said before, and I will repeat it to boredom, there is nothing wrong with that. It is based on our experience. But sometimes the bias will protect us so much that we make assumptions. We jump to conclusions. We are not able to solve the very problem that we want to solve. And this is when you talk to a coach, a mentor, a therapist, a counselor, even a very close friend, just listening to them will change the way you look at the situation, will shed a new light, a new point of view, and you will see that perhaps the new person in the office or the boss you don't like very much, maybe they're not such a jerk. Maybe they're just good people. Or maybe you have some very good tools that you can use to survive them while you're looking for another office or another job. Hey, because sometimes people are jerks. I'm not saying everyone is perfect. So that was the tip for the day, guys. And it's to think, if you are in a situation and you're swimming in this problem and it's coming over and over and over and you cannot solve it, that's the time where you want to go to a therapist or a coach, depending on what type it is, what type of problem you have, right? And really see how you're feeling about it. When this person does XYZ, this makes me feel, ask yourself, I feel like that, and then ask, how and when did I feel the same in the past? When you start connecting the dots, you will see what's going on. And these particular feelings come back and make you feel very unsettled. And a coaching session or a therapy session with RTT is a wonderful way of getting out of your automatic way of thinking and of your anxiety and worry that something will go absolutely wrong, because now you have exactly the same type of person you had before. So experience is a great teacher, but sometimes it can also be a great stumbling block. And how we use this experience to grow, to learn, to share, and to make decisions, it's up to us. But always look out for the bias, and if you are in need, you know where to find me. Just go to my website, my profile, fransidney.com, and call me for a chat. I can help you to get this bias out. I'm not gonna wipe your brain. I'm not gonna change all that you are, but I will help you to shed the light of where you're stuck so you can move on and really enjoy your life, because you don't want to spend the rest of your life being stuck. And a lot of times we make our own little prison. We cannot cross the fence because we think we're in danger when we're not. So that was it for now. 24 minutes of talking about the bias and how we need to think outside of the box. If you have any questions or you want to have a chat with me, feel free to contact me. You know where I am. And I'm very happy to have a free discovery call with you and discover together how can I help you. But in any case, if you like the episode and you think it can help someone, maybe you want to give them a hint they're a little bit biased, please click and share so that we can have more people listening to this episode and learning a little bit more about neuroscience and how we can use mindfulness and just being aware to improve our life. So there we go, we are in the end of episode 43. Thank you very much for being with me for all this time, and I hope you will write a review, a nice positive review that will help us to get more people learning about neuroscience and how to use it for everyday little problems so we can get better and be happier and more fulfilled. So have a lovely day everyone, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye bye. You have listened to Create with Fran Sidney.